But there's another man involved, Curtis Edward Smith. And his attorney says that Murdaugh is trying to shift blame to him for the double murder. If this couldn't get any more like a novel, Smith was Murdaugh's alleged drug dealer and I think a cousin, whom Murdaugh says agreed to shoot and kill him in a botched suicide attempt. Now, Curtis denies that. Let's bring in his attorney, Aimee Zmroczek. Aimee, did I get most of that right? Did I leave things out, or is this as bizarre as it sounds?
It is bizarre as it sounds, and there are some, you could probably do a 24-hour period on this and still not catch all of the intricate details.
The new piece of information, now that people are kind of caught up in some of this morass, is that they have a recording from the cell phone of Murdaugh with his son and daughter, but they're like laughing and having a good time. I mean, do you believe this new piece of evidence helps or hurts Murdaugh?
So it's actually his son and his wife,
right,
that are on the recording, and I do not believe that this helps his case at all. I think that the attorneys are feeling the pressure, which is why they're trying to shift the blame. I do not believe that that assists his case. It doesn't line up with the story that he told when he called 911 at 10:07 that evening, or 10:06 that evening.
Now, here's something I don't understand. You say you're worried that they're going to use a polygraph test of your client to persuade the jury, but even though it's not really on the books in South Carolina, the practice is to not allow a polygraph into trials as evidence, as is the case in many of the states.
Absolutely. And let me be clear, I'm not worried about them using the polygraph, because polygraphs are inadmissible.
Right.
They're junk science. But what I am concerned about is that the attorneys for the defense team of Alex Murdaugh are trying to push that narrative out there. This polygraph has nothing to do with anything, and it's inadmissible evidence. It's a way to try to taint the jury's perception of who my client, Eddie Smith, is.
Now, let's talk about your client for a second. Eddie Smith, you tell me, is this true or false? He was helping Murdaugh get drugs, and he was there when Murdaugh tried to shoot himself. Murdaugh says that your client agreed to shoot him as part of a suicide to get one of his sons some insurance money, and that they botched the shooting, so obviously Murdaugh lived.
So it's a multi-part question. I'm certainly not going to address any drug rumors at this time, as far as my client being an alleged drug dealer, but I can certainly tell you that he did not shoot Alex Murdaugh.
But he was there.
He was there.
Now, what do you believe the biggest concern is for your client in terms of what his motive would have been to kill his cousin's wife and son?
I don't believe that. I don't have any concerns. I know that he didn't do it. He didn't have a motive. What my concern is so the problem is in South Carolina and across the nation, justice is one of the most important ideals of our society. And what my concern is that the defense team is trying to push forward a narrative with inadmissible evidence, with improper evidence, to already try to cast some doubt on the credibility of my client.
Right. Aimee, I appreciate you. Thank you very much. As this develops, I'll come back to you. I want to bring in David Rudolf. Now, you may be familiar with him, okay? He is a criminal defense attorney, perhaps best known for the multi-part Netflix documentary, The Staircase, which refers to the part of this story about the maid, Miss Satterfeld, who went down the stairs, and the HBO series by the same name, in which he defends Michael Peterson. I'm confusing a little bit, Counselor, because we've got a staircase involved in this case with the maid. This is a different series. You have your connection to it, and you have the book American Injustice, where you really take people through what you call the underbelly of the criminal justice system. So, David, it's good to have you. Have you ever heard of a story like this before?
You know, this is among the most bizarre, complex, Byzantine criminal cases I think I've ever heard of. So, no, I've not dealt with one that's quite this complex.